I just beat this mission, and so I wanted to talk a little bit about how I did it for my own future reference so I can get a sense of how to play this game well. So I did watch a video by this guy, Experience Points, um, that was helpful to get some ideas. This was after I had failed the mission a few times, but even then, it was still, there was really just one thing that he told me that was really helpful. Um, and that was that in this mission, you really want to kill everything here within the first 3 turns, and then with the remaining turns, you want to rush your mobile units to Skov. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Um, and so that's the basic thing here is like this guy's going to stay in this city. This guy's going to stay in this city. These guys are going to retreat back to Skov. All these guys are going to retreat back to Skov. If you don't kill all the guys here, they will continue to retreat backwards and they will slow you down because of these two choke points here, this bridge here and that bridge here. These guys are going to retreat. They're going to end up around this bridge, and their zone of control is going to prevent you from being able to move through this area quickly, or as quickly as you need to get the brilliant victory. So that's why you really want to kill all these guys in the first 3 turns. Um, so that's basically it, right? That's the whole thing. Is like just kill these guys in the first 3 turns and then and then rush the mobile units here. However, you do need to have your you do need to keep your mobile units moving along um, far like quickly enough to get to where they need to be. And so what I ended up doing, which I think was actually very helpful, was I did a print screen of the map with the terrain features shown, and I just worked backwards. So I just started at Skov and I counted back the number of movement points that I would need. So these armored guys, they can move 5 spaces. They get 5 movement points and they can still attack. Or if they do extended movement, they can move 8 movement points. And then the mechanized infantry can move 5 and still attack, or they can move 7 and not attack. So what that means is if you want to get into Skov, you can be at most 5 movement points away, right? Like you can be here and attack, or if you wanted to um, move into the city, so you can do the calculations, right? So like for example, let's say we want the armored tank to come into here. It can be to do an extended movement, it can do 8 movement points, right? It costs 2 movement points for a mobile unit, like non-infantry, to go into a city, right? So that's going to cost 2. So from here to here is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the armor can be at the furthest here, and if there are no obstructions and it does the extended movement, it could get into the city. So, but if you wanted it to be close enough to attack, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. So if I wanted these guys to be able to attack the city, they would need to be here. So this one, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't remember why I put that here. Um, but basically, they need to be around this area on the beginning of turn 6 to be able to assault the city, which means that if you work backwards from here, you count backwards from here, they need to be around here on the beginning of turn 5 to do an extended movement to get them to here at the beginning of turn 6, right? So you count from here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this is the correct distance for an extended movement. This guy would get 7 movement points and he moves through the open, so he would end up around here. This part is not actually totally correct, right? Because these guys should really be like over here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, they should really be like there. Maybe just keep that clear. What is that? Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. Why? That doesn't make any sense. This should be like that. Okay. So yeah, this is the line where they can be and still attack the city. They can be further away and do an extended movement into the city. All, and that can happen if I think you get an overrun. You can still use your extended movement, maybe sometimes. I'm not totally sure how that works. But yeah, basically I worked backwards. So this is the beginning of turn 6, you should look like this. The beginning of turn 5, you should have your guys around here. So at the beginning of turn 4, you should have your guys around here. That's what these red boxes are showing. So here at the bridge at the beginning of turn 4, or here at the beginning of turn 4 to do the extended movement. Which means at the beginning of turn 3, you should have your guys like roughly around here or better, here or further forward if possible. You don't want to have them behind here. If you have them behind these lines, then you're falling behind schedule. And this is really helpful because it gives you an idea of like you want to use your armor and mechanized infantry or motorized infantry efficiently. So you want to use them to attack stuff, but you also don't want them to be falling behind, like not as far forward as they should be. So especially getting it back to turn 3 made it a lot easier because then instead of having to iterate, like before I was playing the whole 6 turns and it was like at the end I would realize, oh, I guess I didn't get my guys far enough along. But when you work backwards like this, then you can think, okay, I only need to see where I am at turn 3, and if by turn 3 I don't look like this, then I know I've already screwed it up and I should just restart. So this already was a big help, and I think it'll be a good idea for me to do this for future scenarios. And I'm interested to see how much it applies. Like if this is something that was only helpful for this scenario, or if it might also be helpful for future scenarios. This approach of working backwards. Anyway, so to get into the nitty gritty, the specifics of what I did, um, at the beginning, the first 3 turns are pretty crucial. Um, and then there's not a whole lot that happens after that. I mean, there is, but it's not as much as what happens in the first 3 turns. So really, what you want to do is you have a whole bunch of infantry down here. You want to kill this guy, and then you want to use your infantry you can see in the top right, they get 3 movement points and they can attack, or they can move 4. They get 4 movement points with no attack. So you really want to kill this guy, get infantry to this spot if you can, and then try to get your motorized infantry to surround this unit so that it can't move back. And really your goal here is just to prevent this guy from being annoying and like cutting off your supply lines later or something like that. You just want to kill all these guys before they can cut off your supply. These guys at the bottom, you don't need to worry about. They're never a problem. They're never an issue. So yeah, that's your idea. What you do with the infantry down here, you just take your furthest away infantry and use it to attack this guy, and then use a closer up infantry and use it to attack this guy. Or alternatively, you can use your armor to blow this guy up. You have the time to do it. I think that's what I ended up doing. Um, and then with this infantry, it's you're just killing these things. So you just want to start with your furthest away unit so that you can get it close and attack with it, and then usually sometimes this unit like move back a space, and so you use one of your closer units then to keep pursuing it and try to kill it. And the one thing I would say is that with your armor, one thing I noticed that was helpful is if you can get into a position where, like, see these guys, you have this tank next to this infantry. What you want to do is you want to try to look for opportunities where you can overrun. It's basically like a double attack. So you kill what an overrun is when you have a strong unit that kills a weak unit. It's so it gives you this overrun thing. Like, it's basically that you beat them so easily that you get to attack again. And that's very useful for destroying these units. So you want to try to first attack with the infantry and then look for opportunities where you can use this overrun, like double attack, where you move your tank next to like a spot like this or a spot like here, where you can attack two units in one turn, and that's going to help you to kill them. As for how to use the air support, you only get two uses of it, and I just ended up using it. I think I used one of them on one of these tank units. It works. You can see from the bonus when you hover over tanks or infantry that the air attack works a lot better on tanks. So just use it against a tank. I think I used one of them on this tank when it was here, so I saved one for the end. And there was this tank here that was I needed to kill to get to Skov, so I used one on that. And then I think I used another one on one of these tanks here that I don't think it made such a huge difference, but it just helped me to kill them a little bit faster. And was there anything else that I wanted to say? Um, One other thing was I had my infantry rushing this way to try to free up this part of this line, because my motorized units, my mobile units, I think went through this patch of woods this way, and so I needed to clear up this part of the supply line so that they would be in supply. Um, and then, yeah, what the guy said in the video that I agree with is that you have 5 turns to take this, and you have enough time to just get your infantry to come up here and take it. So you don't need to worry about taking Riga. However, this objective is difficult. Like this objective, you can't. You have to think ahead to get it. And so basically, you just have to send your mobile units, more of your mobile units this way. I think I sent 2 mobile units this way, and then 3 this way, or something like that. Um, I think it's helpful to send them both ways because get you can have them go across like this way from this bridge, and it's roughly as fast as having them come up this way. And also, if you had all 6 mobile units all together here, I don't know, it might be a little bit slower. I'm not sure. I'm sure there's a bunch of different ways to do it. But anyway, let me see if I can to advance through this. So yeah, you see I moved up my armor and I smashed that unit. I then I moved up my furthest infantry to as far as I could, and then I moved another infantry up here. My goal was not so much to kill this guy immediately as much as to just surround him so he couldn't move backwards and slow me down later. But I did attack. I then moved another infantry closer. This is not just to get them in a position where he could attack next turn, but this was not a crucial move. The crucial move is just trapping him so he can't move back. Then I moved my motorized infantry because they were the only unit that would be able to reach this square, other than the tank, which I'd already used. Um, but the infantry can only move 4, a maximum of 4, so none of them would have been able to reach that hex, as far as I could tell, right? Let me see. Yeah, none of them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, okay. Arguably, this guy could have. Um, but maybe the zone of control. I think that's what it is that this guy's exerting zone of control right now. And so even after you kill this guy, you have to clear this zone of control. And the way you do that is you have to move a friendly unit into that square. And so that's what the infantry is doing. You move it, even though this infantry could theoretically move 4 spaces, he has to stop at this space because it's under the zone of control of that unit. So that's what that guy's doing. Then when I have a friendly unit here, then I can move my motorized infantry into this square, which again, they have to stop because of the zone of control by this unit. So then I move that guy in. And then when I have that guy in, then I can move other units up more. And I think what I do is I move that motorized unit there to stop the guy from escaping. Oh, and you can see he loses his zone of control there. You see I move my furthest away infantry up to attack that guy. I move another far away infantry up to kill that guy. And you see I'm punching through, right? I'm trying to keep my infantry going as far forward as they can, you know, getting rid of these zones of control. So I move him as far forward. Like I don't move him here, right? Because that would keep my guys like they would not be moving forward as fast as they could. So I move him up as far as I can, and then I attack. I move him up close because I can't get him to any other further away spot because he's going to get stopped by all these zones of control. So that guy's suppressed. I then move him up. You see I move him up through this spot that I have now opened. And I kill that guy. And then I'm just killing those, just attacking that guy. Not very useful. Okay, so here you see I'm moving this tank up here to start to try to kill this armor because I'm referring to my diagram and I'm thinking, okay, I want to be roughly here at the end of turn 3. And so I want to get my armor up, moving forward. And I also want to make use of it to try to kill these units. So I'm going to move him up to here to kill him. Your units are so much stronger than the enemy units that you don't have to worry about matchups. Just use your armor to kill their armor and you'll be fine. So I attack him. I move this other armor up to attack this other armor here. And then I moved up my motorized infantry, just getting it ready to keep going for the next turn. And again, I move my other motorized infantry up, and like I said before, I just got him surrounded so he can't move backwards. And I'm just moving up my infantry. Nothing really helpful, important. Yeah, just attacking these guys, but these guys are not something you have to worry about. Okay, so now that is player 2. It's not important. Okay, so now turn 2. It's the same thing. I'm just trying to kill these units. I'm just trying to kill these units and get my. I'm just thinking I want to kill these units and I want to get my my motorized units closer to this kind of line here. I want to get them further up, and I'm looking at all of my motorized units. I want all of my motorized units to be at least this far forward by the end of this turn, actually, because this is where they have to be at the beginning of turn 3, right? So that's what I'm thinking for this turn. So I move this tank up, and you can see. Let me see if it's on the graph. Yeah, so you see on this side, the tank doesn't need to be that far forward to get to where it needs to go. So I'm already ahead of schedule by moving the tank here. That's what I'm thinking. And I'm also thinking, oh, if I move my tank up to this spot, I can maybe attack 2 different units. So I think, okay, so I just attacked 1. Oh, why did I do a double attack? I don't remember. I think this was one of the air attacks. I think I used an air attack against this one guy, but it didn't do much. But I then destroyed it, and then I was able to attack the other unit as well. So that's what I mean by the kind of double attack that's super helpful. Yeah, I think that's what happened here. It was an air attack, then an attack that was an overrun, and then I attacked the infantry and destroyed that as well. Very effective. This is like crucial. I was not doing this for the first until this game, until this particular attempt. I was never doing this kind of double attack and killing a bunch of units at once. So that was a big change with this attempt. Looking for these kinds of opportunities to do these overrun double attacks. And then because it was an overrun, I was able to continue moving. And so now I'm way ahead of schedule. I only need to be back here next to this city down here. I don't remember the name of the city, but I'm way ahead of schedule with this guy. And then I move my mechanized infantry up, and I think I was able to attack. Yes, I did attack and forced him back that way. And then I'm just moving up with my infantry. That's nothing really important, just, cleaning up. Okay, so now I'm trying to use my infantry while they're still within range of the enemy units. So I'm moving my furthest away infantry unit up and then attacking a weak unit to try to get rid of it. Um, I then and then using my other infantry to just rush forward. I'm trying to rush them forward. And my thought here is I want them to help me keep this line open, part of my territory, because that's going to be crucial for keeping these motorized units in supply later on when they're up here. Because if these guys end up out of supply, then it just ruins everything. The whole plan falls apart. So that's what this guy needs to do. Is their job is to keep these parts open, and specifically this area here. And then again, same with this guy, just rushing forward. This guy's moving up to try to attack the infantry, I imagine. Yep. Moving this guy up to attack the infantry. This guy's just doing cleanup of that infantry, nothing really important. Okay, so now this tank, same thing. You see, I saw this opportunity where I have two units next to each other. So I'm going to move up the tank, maybe attack the weaker unit first to get the overrun, and then attack the stronger unit. So yeah, attack the weaker unit, got an overrun, and then I attack the stronger unit. And then let's see if I do the same thing. Yeah, so I do the same thing. I see these two units next to each other, so I move the tank into a position where it's next to both units, and you'd see that one unit is weak, or both units are weakened, so I'm especially likely to get this overrun bonus. So I move it into a position where it's next to both of them. I attack the weaker one, I get an overrun, and then I attack the other one, and I pretty much destroy it. And then I think what happened was I got another overrun. So I attacked it, I got another overrun, and so I was able to attack a third time, and I killed it. So at this point, I have all of the defensive units that were normally a problem, they're all dead, which is just amazing. Like, I had never gotten this result that you see here in any previous attempt. So that was a big change with this attempt, that I just killed all of the units that were previously being annoying. This guy's never going to be an issue. This guy's never going to be an issue. Um, so then what? So then I'm just rushing forward with my motorized infantry, and I decided to just have him follow the road to try to, keep that open, but I'm not sure how important it was to have him go this way as opposed to like up that way or off to the right. Probably doesn't make a big difference. And then this is moving my infantry up, nothing important. Okay, so that's again, I'm moving up my motorized infantry, trying to keep on schedule. They only need to be up at this line here, and you can see that this guy's way ahead of schedule, or a little bit ahead of schedule. This guy is just a little bit ahead of schedule, um, just one square ahead of schedule, and the armor's ahead of schedule. Yeah. So then, next turn, okay, so this is their response. They don't do anything interesting. Okay, so turn 3. So that's just cleanup. Again, so I'm rushing my motorized infantry up. I think this is to a position where it can attack from. Yeah, so I'm just trying to get in an attack because I want to kill this guy as quickly as I can so that I'm not slowed down by this guy, because the motorized units need to take this city and the infantry are going to end up taking the Riga. So I move him 5 up so that he can attack, and then I guess I got an extra movement point that I was able to use. Maybe it was I don't know why. I still don't know the details of how all that works. So I got an extra movement point, so I was able to move him up because that's the square you need to be in to cross the bridge. With this guy, I'm just rushing him forward. I'm trying to get to stay on schedule for where they need to be at this turn. You see this guy needs to be at least here. So here he's a little bit ahead of schedule, just 2 squares ahead of schedule. This guy, I made a mistake. When I originally did this graph, I had this guy here, but I realized after the fact that this was not correct, and actually he needed to be here. So in hindsight, what I should have done was, instead of sending him to this square, I should have sent him to this square here. That would have been better, but it still worked. Um, Then I'm just rushing my armor forward. I'm not worried about having these guys attack Riga. Again, rushing my armor forward, rushing my armor forward. Did I get an attack in? No, I think I couldn't. These guys were so far away that they were not able to get an attack in on this turn. So then I'm just moving my infantry up towards Riga. And you see that there's this area here that's still not in my control, and that could mess up my supply for future turns. So I need to clear this area out so that these guys are going to be in supply the next time when they're further away. So yeah, next. Okay, so then what happens? So yeah, I move this infantry up to open up this road. This guy's not going to do anything for the remainder of the game, so it's not really important. Then I'm rushing my motorized infantry over. I've decided I'm going to have them go over to the right because you have these woods that it just makes it slower. So I'm just thinking I'm going to have all of my motorized infantry try to get to this bridge here. That's my thought at this point. So same thing, my tanks going for this area here, this bridge. This tank's going up. The infantry is starting to continue towards Riga. Okay, so my tank attacks this guy. Doesn't do much. This guy attacks, kills him. Tank still had some movement points, so it continued up. I then use one of my motorized infantry to take the city and to continue back forward. At this point, this is the beginning of turn 5. These guys are behind schedule, right? Or they seem to be behind schedule. Like they need to be here, and they are. This guy's behind schedule. This guy's on schedule. The thing is, I don't need everybody to be. This schedule is determined by like assuming we want every unit to be able to attack Skov, but we only need one unit, really one unit to attack Skov, and that should be enough to kick out the unit that's there, and then we can have some other unit do an extended move into Skov. So as long as like this guy's on schedule, it should be okay. And this guy's on schedule. This guy's behind schedule. So this guy and this guy are not going to be able to attack Skov itself. But these two tanks are still in position to attack Skov. This guy's also, I think, not going to be in a position to attack Skov. But it's fine because, there are these other defensive units, and so even if they're not going to be in a position to attack the city itself, they might be in a position to attack some of the units that come out to defend it. So then what happens? So my infantry is just going up to Riga to attack it. This is nothing special here. They just take the city, attack that straggler, and these infantry are just done. You don't need to think about them for the rest of the scenario. So then what? So then my tank does an extended move up towards the bridge, extended move towards the bridge, extended move towards the bridge, extended move, extended move. So I'm just rushing for this bridge. Okay, and then so they move some vehicles down here. You can see that they're out one turn, out of supply one turn. Being out of supply one turn doesn't seem to do much. I don't remember the specifics, but I didn't notice anything. So you can still attack. You still have all, yeah. So I don't worry about it being out of supply one turn. So what do? I attack with, I think, this tank onto that tank. Or I think I use the air attack. Yeah, I use the air attack. I then attack with the tank. I then attack with this tank, which I think was a mistake. I think it was probably a better idea to attack with this tank. To move this tank here and attack. I think that would have been a better idea, maybe. So I attack with the closer tank, kill it, and then I get an overrun, so I also attack this infantry guy. I got an overrun, but I was not able to continue moving forward. So then I move forward with the motorized infantry, and I attack this guy, kill him with one shot. I then move forward with another motorized infantry, and I attack this guy, and he leaves the city. And then I guess with this tank, I guess I had an overrun, so I was able to still use my movement points, and I was able to continue into the city. So that's when I got the decisive victory. This guy was too far away to move in. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, I think he could have done it. I think he could have done the extend move, maybe. Oh, no, 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 because it's 2 movement points to get into the city. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he would not have been able to enter the city. So I don't really understand. Yeah, I'm not. I think maybe because he was closer, so he didn't use his movement points, and because he got the overrun, he was able to do it. But yeah, that's how I did it, and this was apparently this is one of the more difficult um, scenarios. So in summary, lessons. I guess the lessons are. I mean, first of all, I don't think there's any way I would have been able to do this on the first go, because there were so many, I think, peculiarities of this scenario that you just have to play it a couple times to learn them, like, the importance of the bridges and whatnot. But in general, I would say, and also think like the way that these vehicles move out and whatever. But in general, I would say, working backwards, like thinking about, okay, where do I need to be at each turn to get where I need to be when I'm supposed to be there. Creating this graph, I think, was super helpful and something I think I'm going to try to do for future scenarios. What else? Um, Understanding the movement distances of all of the different units, the infantry, motorized infantry, and armor, and the extended movement versus normal movement is crucial. Um, I think the fact that, like, for example, knowing that the infantry should take Riga and the motorized units should take Daugov, Daugov pills, that's like, how could you figure that out playing a scenario for the first time? I mean, I would say, it would have to be from working backwards, right? Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so if you kind of like do a quick guess, you can say, okay, well, based on where I start, I need to be there by turn 5. My infantry have enough movement points to get there, so I think my infantry should be good to take this place. And then thinking, okay, from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can kind of maybe do the math and say, okay, well, my infantry don't have enough movement points to get to this city by turn 4. So therefore, it has to be the case that I'm expected to use my mobile units to take this city. So I think that's the kind of reasoning that I could have done the first time I played this to figure out that the motorized units should take this city and the infantry should take Riga. What else? I think the overrun double attacks and triple attacks are just something to know, something to look for. But I think like knowing how important it would be, how important it was to kill these units. It's like, how would you know that how important it was ahead of time? It's just like it's because of, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe you could say, like, in general, if you can kill all of the enemy units and be on schedule, then you should. Maybe that's the thing to say, like on schedule in terms of like where your guys are positioned. Um, but I'm not sure. Like, I have a feeling that the next scenario I play is going to require different thinking, or it might require different thinking. But it's very fun to I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, I think maybe like attacking with your furthest away units so that you can then continue with your closer units is something to just a general thing to use. What else? Any other lessons that I want to remember? I think the importance of keeping these, planning ahead to think about keeping your supply lines open, the roads, using your infantry to make sure these roads, squares are under your control. Um, so that's like one of their jobs, and also just, you know, doing cleanup of straggling units and surrounding units with your motorized infantry, or, your mobile units, using your mobile units to surround units so that they can't escape and go backwards to slow you down later. Anything else? I think those are all the lessons. I think if I had internalized all of that, I think if I had applied those lessons, if I could have come up with like a checklist, I think that might have been enough to get me to be able to beat this on the first attempt. Because that's what I think is interesting, is like, could you come up with a list of heuristics or a list of steps to follow that could result in a person winning this on their first attempt? It would be interesting to have that kind of list of instructions. Like, first you do this, then you do this, then you do this, like best practices or a standard operating procedure. So yeah, it'd be fun to kind of like develop one of those and see if, apply it to different scenarios and see how well it works. Yeah, so okay, that's been long enough, but I wanted to make this video before I forgot how I did this.